Yesterday, I did a video that got a really great response from you guys about why Steven Crowder doesn't have kids. And today I'm going to talk about how I realized that Steven Crowder is not as smart as I once thought he was. But first, I have a quick announcement. Someone commented on the video and they said you should get a nicer background and you need a mic arm or a mic stand. Don't hold your mic. And here's the thing. I could spend a lot of time producing well done videos. I have another channel where if I make a video, it takes me days to edit. But I'm dealing with a newborn baby that's my top priority of trying to take care of. And if I try and go through the effort of getting a nice location, I could go down in the courtyard where we have beautiful scenery, a beautiful location, but then I'd have to set everything up, prepare for a long time, get a permit, and then I'd have to spend time editing the video. And I have to go through all that. If I have to go through all that, especially with a newborn baby, it's just never going to get done. And when I produce more evergreen content, I will do that. But for these things that are a little bit more topical things in the news, I just want to get a quick message out to you guys to help you guys. And the bottom line is, I'm not like Ben Shapiro, where I'm funded by billionaires, where he has the perfect studio and he has a marketing team. But you know what? I got what I need to counter the message of the establishment like that. I got a light there. I can sit down here on my couch, find a plain background, turn on my light. I got my microphone, and I have an internet connection. And really, since this is about my message, with the goal of this channel, it's still kind of in this experimental phases, and I don't know exactly where it's going to go. But it's mostly about I want to get a message out to you guys to help you guys out. And mainly, I got what I need with the good microphone. I really have what I need. And we're rising up against those establishment hacks like Ben Shapiro. I don't need to be funded by billionaires. Now, if you guys want to throw a donation my way to help make these videos, to help them coming, or if you want to use my affiliate link through Amazon where I get a small commission, that's great. If you guys want to share these videos just to get the message out, if you guys want to leave a comment in support, these are all great ways to support. But even going to the smallest level, if I can give you guys a message that helps you out to be a happier person, to live a better lifestyle, that's going to not only make yourself better, make things better for your family, but make the world in general a better place. And so that's what's going on with that. Hopefully you don't mind this setup for now. This is kind of an experimental thing. I just want to get these views out for you, and to heck with those guys like Ben Shapiro, to heck with those corporations and the establishment. You know, they have TV programs. They call it TV programming because it's programming you. So I'm going to try and give you guys some food for thought to actually help you. And I know since I've started talking about some of these things in more the political realm, a lot of you guys watch other political videos, and even if it's very true what they say, it can be very black-pilling, and it can fill you with despair. And you watch one of those videos, then you go about your day, and somehow you're not quite as happy or feeling as good as you can, and that's going to affect your overall life. I was saying one of the reasons I call people out so much, subverters, especially people like Ben Shapiro, is because if someone drinks some poison, let's say they have a little bit of alcohol, they have a few drinks of alcohol, really that's a poison, but those beers or whatever they drink, that's going to be out of their system in an hour or two, and that's probably never going to affect them at all the rest of their lives. But if someone puts poison in their mind, that's something that could potentially affect the rest of your mind. So when you're listening to poison from some of these YouTubers, especially the establishment hacks like Ben Shapiro, that's something that can lead you down a wrong path. And also last night I had a conversation with my wife where I was telling her, you know, on my main channel, people always say, you're so positive, and I've never said a bad word about anyone. And it feels kind of good on this channel to be calling out people that I see as bad guys or doing bad things. They're really running a confidence game. They're trying to gain your confidence, people like Shapiro, to ultimately lead you down the wrong path. And my wife said to me, do you really think calling people out is loving your neighbor? And I said, well, if I saw someone talking to my neighbor, someone that's maybe a con man or trying to talk them into doing something that's not good for them and their family, well, I think it would be loving my neighbor to warn them about that, to present another point of view for them, to kind of wake them up to some extent and realize, hey, this other guy, he's a snake in the grass. So I've been talking a lot about Shapiro lately. I've done some talking about Steven Crowder, even though I don't think Crowder's an evil guy. I've been calling out Rick Warren, not in my videos, but Pastor Rick Warren. These guys, they're not looking to help you out ultimately. But let's get to Crowder. I used to think that Crowder was a very smart guy because even though I wasn't a fan of Crowder, I would occasionally see some of his views and I'd say, this is a very sharp guy. This is a very smart guy, this Steven Crowder guy. But then it all changed and I realized at one point he's not that smart. And that point really was when I saw his last appearance on the Joe Rogan show. And Joe Rogan, he's a shill. I don't like Joe Rogan personally, but Joe Rogan does have some very good guests on his podcast, and something that Joe Rogan does well, that he actually does have a talent for, is podcasting. I'll give him, if I can say anything good about him, a lot of people, they run very boring podcasts. Joe Rogan actually runs a pretty good podcast, so even though he's a shill and sometimes he just doesn't know what he's talking about, I can throw some credit his way. But I watched because I always thought Crowder was a smart guy at that point, just seeing the occasional video by him. But when I saw him on Joe Rogan's podcast, it was a big wake-up call for me. The whole thing if you haven't seen it, I'll kind of give you a brief rundown. From the first minute, it started to go off the rails when Crowder gave him as a gift a pipe full of tobacco, and Joe Rogan started deeply inhaling tobacco, the tobacco smoke. I don't smoke myself, but I know that if you take a cigar, something that packs a lot of tobacco, and you start deeply inhaling it, usually cigar smokers, they just put the smoke in their mouth and they don't actually really inhale it and blow out. But Joe Rogan's used to smoking marijuana, and he started basically, it's like he was doing bong hits. And then they started drinking, and both guys got very stupid, very ridiculous. At the end of the day, neither guy walked away looking good. They both looked like fools. But when it really super went off the rails was when Crowder insulted Joe Rogan's god, marijuana. First, it seemed like, going back kind of to the beginning, it was clear that Joe Rogan just kind of wanted to have a casual conversation, and Crowder wanted to just lay out the usual conservative talking points and rattle those off, and Joe Rogan was interested in, he thought they were going to have a conversation. He didn't want to play into that game of just, okay, you just spout your talking points to us. But when Crowder insulted marijuana, that was sacrilegious to Joe Rogan because that's like his god. And then Joe Rogan started throwing childish insults his way, and Crowder did not handle it well. This guy that I thought was such an intelligent guy that could think on his feet, he was very exposed. Crowder started acting like a crybaby SJW. Crowder looks smart because he goes out and he talks to college student SJWs, people that are not very prepared, people that are not very good debaters, people that are not very smart themselves. But as soon as he starts getting thrown these childish insults his way by a drunk, wasted Joe Rogan, all of a sudden Crowder looked literally like he was going to start crying, and he did the old SJW defense where he started to say, "You're bullying me, Joe. You're a bully. Stop the bullying." That's straight up SJW talk, and that's what Crowder was doing. And I just couldn't believe it. I was thinking, Crowder must be a guy that did not grow up with an older brother. Because if you grow up with an older brother, that prepares you. Not only do you get the physical beatings, but you're constantly getting insults thrown your way and made fun of by your older brother. So you have to learn to think on your feet. So anytime someone throws an insult at you, you're prepared to fire back right away and one-up them. But Crowder practically started crying. And then Crowder, a guy that was insulting marijuana, and I'm not a pro-marijuana guy, though. I think it's good for people that have certain medical needs. But Crowder revealed that he uses some highly addictive prescription upper. So he's using this prescription drug that's much more dangerous, much more addictive. It has a lot worse side effects, I think, than the thing that he was insulting to Joe Rogan, which came off as very hypocritical. But at the end of the day, I realized Crowder is a guy that can dish it out, but he can't take it. and I just can't respect that. And then recently it's been revealed that Crowder's live show, it's never been live. They have to record it and then probably edit out anything that would make them look stupid when, because it's hard to do this. I'm recording straight into the camera. It's hard to talk straight off the top of your head. Sometimes you misspeak. Sometimes you make a little mistake. Sometimes you say something you didn't mean. And it's easy to kind of look foolish. But Crowder, just being a guy that can dish it out and can't take it, like I said, it's kind of hard to respect someone like that. And then when he gets into some of these standard neocon policies, and look at who his guests are. Crowder, he will debate people on his show. When he went on Joe Rogan's turf, it didn't go that well. But he'll have people on his show and debate him. And usually there's some wacky Hollywood celebrity that has these very like far left wing ideas. People, again, going back to the people that are easier to debate, and he likes to have other people on that echo his opinions, the Ben Shapiro's of the world, his butt buddy, but he'll never have someone on as a guest to either debate or even just have a conversation with someone that's truly based, someone like Rushvi. He'll never have Roosh on as a guest. He'll want to pretend like someone like that doesn't even exist, and if someone that talks like that, if he does have to acknowledge him, he'll be very quick to separate. Hey, I'm not one of these guys. I'm not one of these extremists. Like, he likes to point that out. But, of course, Crowder's not a so-called extremist because he doesn't really stand for anything. Even when I used to think that he was a brave guy for doing those videos about the Muslims, it's really not that brave. It's just more neocon stuff, standard stuff that people like that will want to defend. So that's my little story, my little rant for you about how I became how I got to realize that Crowder, he's not as smart of a guy as a lot of people think, not as smart of a guy as I once thought he was. And I hope you guys don't mind this bare bones setup where I'm just recording straight into a webcam to get these messages out for you guys. And ultimately, I hope you don't mind me calling these people out. Steven Crowder, who still does some good work. I don't hate Steven Crowder, but I like to call out people even that I think are doing good work, even though I don't necessarily enjoy it. But definitely, I'm gonna keep hammering on the guys like Ben Shapiro or some of these other weirdos out there, Pastor Rick Warren, whoever else, guys that are ultimately trying to lead you down the wrong path. So hopefully these messages I do, they keep helping you out. So you can check out my other videos. This is like my 4th video now about Steven Crowder, and I have a lot of other good stuff on this channel for you to enjoy.